So you're thinking about buying or selling a home in Louisville, Kentucky. In this video, we're going to go over some more pros and cons about what it's like to live in the River City.
From its vibrant culture and charming attractions to the things you might not love so much, we'll give you everything you need to know to feel confident about your decision.
If you want to know everything about what it's like to live in Louisville, Kentucky, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications to stay up to date on the market and all things going on in Louisville. Hey everyone, my name is Zach Fry.
And I'm Beth Geiser. Every day we get calls from people just like you. Whether you're moving in 9 months or 9 days, feel free to reach out. All of our contact information is in the box below. We look forward to working with you.
That's right. Now, before we get to it, if there's something we forgot, put a comment in the box below. We'd like to hear what you thought. We're just going to give you some of our favorites, an overview. And I say one of the things that people notice when they come to Louisville is just our abundance of restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
We have over 2,000 restaurants here on any given day, give or take. And just ranging, just about every cuisine you can imagine is represented here. We have a really rich international community.
We do, and the food choices here are just as diverse as the wonderful people in Louisville.
Absolutely. Louisville was also voted one of the South's best food cities by Southern Living magazine.
We were also recognized by Zagat as one of the top 8 awesome food getaways around the world.
Yeah, so whatever you want, whatever your taste buds or desire, you're probably gonna find it here.
Oh yeah.
I've noticed that people, even from larger cities, even close by within the region, will visit Louisville to eat.
Yes.
They'll come here to eat.
Just to go to one particular restaurant, maybe.
Yeah, there's lots of restaurants that have that one dish that just sticks in your mind where you're like, oh my gosh, it's just life-changing. Yes. So I know I've got my list of those.
Yes.
Give us a comment if you want to know what some of my secret favorites are.
The great thing about Louisville is that you could go out to eat every day and never have to go to the same restaurant twice. We have so many wonderful options here.
For years. I mean, you could do that for, multiple years on end and never go back to the same restaurant.
That's right. Our next pro about living in Louisville, Kentucky has to be one of our finest entertainment spots, which is Churchill Downs. This is the iconic racetrack home to the Kentucky Derby, held the first Saturday in May every year.
Yeah, and they actually have usually over 150,000 attendees. And it's not just a sporting event, it's a real iconic fashion event. So think big hats, colorful dresses for the ladies, bow ties, seersucker suits, lots of plaid. Everybody really breaks out their finery, for the Kentucky Derby. It's really something that everybody should experience at one time in their life. And it's a whole festival starting 2 weeks before the event. So Louisville just gets flooded with people from all over the world. I mean, Queen of England's been there.
Every famous celebrity has been to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. And
part of the fun even is really spotting those celebrities and learning when they roll into town. They might go to some of the celebrity parties here. The
Dawn at the Downs is also wonderful to do. Going to the backside.
Yep.
It's just tons of fun. It really feels like we're kicking off spring.
Yes, it does. It's quite the sequence of events. It is kicked off by Thunder Over Louisville, which is the largest fireworks display in North America.
And it brings just tens of thousands of people to the Louisville waterfront, and they have air show and fireworks, and it's just really, people make a day of it. The locals really go down there and just put blankets out, and a lot of the locals will get in big groups on bicycles and just ride around the neighborhoods and go to neighborhood parties. And it's just a ton of fun.
It really is. The city absolutely comes alive that time of year. Well, another great attraction here in Louisville, and really statewide, is our bourbon tourism. We are home to probably 40 distilleries, and they are a great attraction for people who want to learn more about bourbon, enjoy bourbon, want to do a little tasting.
Another thing is Louisville's the gateway to the Urban Bourbon Trail.
That's right.
Which is just tons of fun, and you can actually get a little passport, and you can get them stamped, and some people, make a big production of, making sure they get all their passport stamps to all the distilleries. So that number is growing every year. Currently we sit somewhere around 40 distilleries, and over 90% of the world's bourbon is distilled right here in this region. So not right here in Jefferson County or Louisville proper, but just really close in our region.
Bourbon is really a big part of our economy here in Louisville. It supports a lot of people through jobs in the hospitality industry as well. And, even if you don't want to do a distillery tour, you could go to your favorite bar or restaurant, and more than likely they're going to have an absolutely fantastic selection of bourbons, and the bartender there could even lead you through a tasting.
Yeah, we've got several restaurants here in Louisville that keep 50 to 100, even over 200 bourbons in stock at any given time. Just right down the street from our office here on Frankfort Avenue, there's Bourbon Bistro, which has a huge collection. What's the other one? Watch Hill proper.
Yep, out in Norton Commons, they have a phenomenal bourbon selection. I think the largest in the nation.
Wonderful chef there too.
Yes.
Another one of our favorite things about living in Louisville, Kentucky is the arts. The arts are strong here. We've got not only wonderful museums, but the Kentucky Center for the Arts is home to the Louisville Ballet, the Louisville Orchestra, the Louisville Opera. We've got just gobs of galleries along the Market Street corridor. And through some of the other historic corridors like Frankfort Avenue, Market Street, Bardstown Road, there's just artists are really represented well here.
They are really. There's a gallery in probably every historic neighborhood in Louisville.
100%.
Yeah, so it's really great and a wonderful way to put together a collection of unique art for your home.
I've even seen articles in other regional cities where they kind of really covet how artsy Louisville is, even though we're a smaller community.
Yep, absolutely.
So if you're into the arts, you're going to love it here.
Yes.
Kentucky Center for the Arts also hosts wonderful Broadway shows like Hamilton or Lion King, just numerous touring acts. I just love going to Kentucky Center for the Arts. They have the Lonesome Pine specials there, which are great, and it's just a really special place.
It really is, Louisville, Kentucky is home to some remarkable museums that highlight our culture, history, and innovation. Many of these are situated on Main Street, which has kind of become like our museum corridor here in the city. One that really sticks out is the Louisville Slugger Museum and Bat Factory.
I love that one. Yeah. It's pretty easy to find, too.
It sure is. It has like a 160-foot replica bat right outside the museum.
Yeah, it's massive. It's really, a lot of people like to get their, it's probably one of the most popular pictures for visitors to take to go get their picture taken in front of the giant Louisville Slugger. Yeah,
they really honestly had that selfie place long before that was even a thing to do. People were getting their picture taken in front of the bat. And as you tour through the museum, you can also see how bats are made. They have a lot of history there about bat making, and of course all the famous baseball players have used Louisville Slugger bats in the past.
Yeah, see, a lot of them have actually donated bats to the museum, as well as numerous autographs from players such as Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, just to name a couple.
Yeah.
You can see bats that they played with. You can actually see bats being made and get pretty hands-on there. So make sure you get down to the Louisville Slugger Museum and Bat Factory. Actually gets over 300,000 visitors a year. Isn't that amazing? So it's one of our most popular museums. And while you're down there, make sure you check out some of the other great offerings here in Louisville.
All right, founded in 1927 is the Speed Art Museum. This is our largest art museum in the city, and it receives about 200,000 visitors a year.
It is amazing.
It really is. Of course, they have permanent collections that span over 6,000 years, and they have a regular rotating exhibits throughout the museum as well.
Yeah, they did an expansion, I think, in 2016, which I think they're up to like 65,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Ugh.
One of my favorite things about the Speed Museum is the fact that through a grant from Owsley Brown, Sundays are free. So people can go down and enjoy the museum with their families, friends, and take a tour, and they don't have to pay any admission whatsoever.
You really get a great cross-section of historical art, classical art, and some really touching contemporary art too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have some incredible artifacts there.
And they have a wonderful cinema there.
They do.
You can see foreign films, high art film.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful place they also have to go see a film. Art After Dark is another wonderful option they have there. And just tons of events there.
They sure do. It is situated near U of L, and parking is really easy.
It's very easy.
It's very accessible.
The Speed Art Museum was actually also named one of Southern Living's best Southern museums. So make sure you check it out on your next visit.
All right. Well, going back to the Main Street corridor is another one of my favorite museums, which is the Kentucky Science Center.
Love the Kentucky Science Center.
The Kentucky Science Center welcomes over 500,000 visitors a year.
Mind-boggling.
500,000. Yeah, sure does.
Interesting fact about the Kentucky Science Center, it was actually founded in 1871, originally as the Kentucky Museum of Science and History.
You know, a kind of an unofficial fact about the Science Center is that often on snow days here, they will actually have free admission for people to come down and enjoy
wow.
the museum with their kids. Yeah, they know that parents are at home with their children and probably pulling their hair out a little bit, need to get out of the house. And so they will open the doors and allow visitors to come in free of charge sometimes.
Love the Kentucky Science Center.
Another great fact about the Kentucky Science Center is it was named a top science museum by Parents Magazine.
One of my favorite things at the Kentucky Science Museum is the 4-story IMAX screen.
Yeah.
They show really amazing science films and even some blockbusters.
They sure do. It's a really impactful way to see a movie.
Oh, yeah. Right around the corner from the Kentucky Science Center is the Muhammad Ali Center, and it is amazing. It's 93,000 square feet of exhibit space, gallery space, event space, and you should really allow yourself at least about 3 hours to get through there. I think you're really going to be impressed by all it has to offer.
It really pays homage to such an iconic athlete.
Interesting fact about Muhammad Ali, he was actually voted Athlete of the Century for the 19th century.
Wow. Yeah.
Its opening in 2005, Muhammad Ali Center has welcomed over 1 million visitors from over 100 countries.
Impressive. The Muhammad Ali Center has received numerous awards, including being named a top best attraction for sports fans by USA Today.
The Muhammad Ali Museum actually also holds the designation of Smithsonian Museum Exhibit, ensuring top quality for all of its exhibits.
All right, our last pro in this series is one that might be a little bit of a surprise and unexpected, but it's our great drinking water.
Oh, yeah. We get to enjoy that the most.
Yes. Here in Louisville, we are known for having some of the best tasting drinking water in the nation.
Absolutely. It's what really contributes to the quality of the bourbon here. So you can take the exact same ingredients that we have here, make them somewhere else, and it's just not going to taste the same.
Nope.
And it's one of those things that you don't really appreciate when you live here until you travel. And then you have the water somewhere else. You're like, oh gosh, that doesn't taste near as good as it does back in Louisville.
Our water is so good here that the water company actually passes out water bottles to everybody in the city who has an account with them. You can get 2 free water bottles a year. And often at festivals and events, they have water stations. So you can just bring your empty Louisville Pure Tap bottle with you and fill up at any of the water stations that are hosted at that event.
Yeah, Louisville was actually one of the first cities to implement riverbank filtering, which filters the water through rock, sand, and clay. It's a really advanced technology, and they actually test it for cleanliness over 200 times a day.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, everybody. Now, like any city, it's time to get to our cons, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? We got to call it straight, and we pride ourselves on being straight shooters. But if you're enjoying our content and are thinking about moving to Louisville, Kentucky, we'd love the opportunity to talk to you, see if we're a fit for each other. We have all of our contact information below, so feel free to call, email, text, or one of our favorites, schedule a Google Meet. All right, our first con in this series is the Louisville weather. It can be pretty dynamic. So a lot of locals will say, if you don't like the weather here, just wait a day.
Because it'll change.
Yeah, we can have pretty dramatic swings in temperature
We really can.
and humidity. So that needs to be factored in. We get quite a bit of rain too in the rainy season.
We sure do.
April, May, expect some gray days, but that's part of one of the things that makes it so green and lush here. So it goes both ways, but we do get a lot of rain.
We get about 46 inches annually of rain every year and about 8 inches of snow. Louisville averages about 195 sunny days a year, which is just below the national average of 205 sunny days per year. So this means we have a little bit more of a prevalence of gray days. We mentioned the rain, and it does happen to rain a lot here.
Just a 10-day swing, not huge. It's nowhere near on the order of magnitude of somewhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Correct.
But it's something to consider.
Sure, and we do have some ongoing, gray days, but it's very seasonal.
Absolutely.
It's also pretty warm here. We have temperatures, and especially in the summertime, we can have some prolonged heat.
Yeah, we can get spikes up into the low 100s.
Oh, absolutely. The feels like. So really our average temperature in July is about 87 degrees, but it will get much higher than that in August. We might have a few weeks on end where we could have temperatures in the 90s.
But let me tell you, the shoulder seasons, spring and fall, are just
They're
sublime.
glorious here. All right, another challenging factor about living in Louisville could be the air quality. Louisville air quality ranges from good to moderate. And this is typically driven by ozone and then particulates. So ozone levels tend to spike when it's hot outside, and we definitely have a good number of warm days in the summer. And a lot of this is also exacerbated by being in the Ohio Valley, where it tends to trap that heat and humidity and creates that higher ozone level. Now, Conversely, we will have higher incidences of particulates in the air when it's colder outside. And this can also be exacerbated by industry and traffic pollution and things like that. Along with air quality issues, another challenge of living in Louisville, Kentucky can be allergies. Many people here suffer from seasonal allergies, and this is caused by a few things. One is that we have a high rate of rain, and this can cause an increase in flora, and that means pollen in the air.
Yeah, lots of pollen, ragweed. It can be pretty palpable in the spring and summer.
Absolutely. We're also in the Ohio Valley, which tends to trap those particulates in the air and keep them around longer. So people tend to have a more prolonged suffering, for those particulates in the air.
Yeah, if you're really sensitive to these kinds of things in the air, it's something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have higher mold counts, again, because of some of the rain that we have here too. Now, allergies are never a reason to say, I don't want to come live in Louisville, Kentucky. There's some great ways around it. You can have some HEPA filters put in your home.
Make sure that you're eating lots of local honey. It can really help significantly.
Keep your windows closed and run your air conditioner in the summertime. And then also use an air purifier. It's a great way to keep the air a little bit cleaner in your workspace or your home. Louisville has often been ranked as one of the worst U.S. cities for allergies by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America.
Another con to living in Louisville, just like any other city, is there is some crime. So it's something to factor in. I think when people visit here from other bigger cities, they're actually surprised how low the crime is to their city by comparison. But Louisville is still a city. So conversely, when people visit here from smaller communities, they are really shocked that there is a little bit more violent crime than maybe the little town that they live in.
True. So crime in Louisville tends to be localized in certain areas over others. It's not prolific or consistent throughout the city.
Just like any city, there are areas of higher and lower activity.
According to usnews.com, the metropolitan area's violent crime rate was higher than the national rate in 2022. Its rate of property crime was also higher than the national rate. The crime index in Louisville is a 7.5 out of 10. So crime rate is calculated by looking at the number of crimes committed per 100,000 people.
The violent crime rate is 696 and the property crime rate is 2933 as of 2022.
Now rest assured, crime is not prolific throughout the city. It tends to be localized in certain areas over others. But people and homeowners should always be vigilant and careful about their property and their possessions. So make sure you lock your doors. Lock the doors on your car. Make sure that you don't have any valuables sitting out in your car that are visible to passersby. And make sure you retrieve your packages off your porch. These are all little common sense things that people can do.
Absolutely.
And we're lucky that we have such great innovation and technology to help us live our lives more safely.
Motion lights.
Yes, and the Ring doorbell.
My personal favorite.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the last con on our list are schools. So unfortunately, we have some disparity on the quality of education throughout the city.
It's true.
Yeah, primarily in Jefferson County. Just not all schools are at the same level of academic achievement as the rest of them. The average standardized test scores tend to fall below the national standard in several subjects. Now, the high school graduation rate is about 83%, whereas the national average is 85%. So we're pretty close there.
And we do have a wonderful parochial school system
Right.
available as well. So some wonderful private school options are available. A lot of people also even consider Floyd County and Oldham County for its wonderful school system as well.
Yes, absolutely. So really, I think what we would tell people to do is take a look at niche.com and see how the schools rank in the area of the city that you might be considering. Thank you for watching Living in Louisville with Zach Fry and Beth Geiser. If you're considering buying or selling a home in Louisville, Kentucky and need some help, feel free to reach out.
We'd love to hear from you. All of our contact information is below, so feel free to call, text, email, or schedule a Google Meet.
All right, we look forward to meeting you.
Until then, have a great day.